The problem with your homebrew is you don't know if it's bad because not all homebrew is created equal and all your players are far too shy to speak up. But one thing we can all agree on is homebrew is one thing the Cult of Matthew does right. But what does the Cult of Matthew know that 98.6% of DMs completely forget? And no, it's not having a viral YouTube channel or having oddly matching names from the Bible, because chances are you don't have either of those things yet. But by the end of this video, you will be writing homebrew your players won't hate, just like us. I mean them. Because today, I'm going to give you the 5 laws to make sure your homebrew never sucks. So lean back, light your pipe, or do whatever it is you do when you want to enjoy a YouTube video in peace. But pay close attention, because the first law is crucial for all the other laws to work. And that is the golden rule. The golden rule is treat others the way you want to be treated. But how does this relate to your homebrew? I'm glad you asked. The problem is, most homebrew is made with a little thought about how it will make your players react. Let me give you an example. You, the DM, just spent 5 hours building a homebrew encounter that your players smashed through with no respect, only to ignore all your details and Easter eggs. But oh my gosh, they are crazy about that stray orange cat you almost didn't mention, and the thing you didn't plan for becomes their #1 obsession. For most people, it's easy to hear this and go, yeah, a DM has to be flexible, oh boy. But let's be real here, you're no acrobat, unless you are, in which case the Matthews are accepting applications. So by asking yourself the question, how will this make my players react, before you make your homebrew will save yourself gobs of time building cool stuff your players won't care about, and instead spend your time building meaningful things they do care about. If you do this well, your homebrew will make you look like a professional writer. But what happens when your players want you to accept their broken homebrew, which you know will grossly derail your entire campaign? This leads us to the second law of making better homebrew, which is thou shalt not kill. Now this has nothing to do with killing your players' characters, which I think is perfectly fine and you should do as you see fit. But it is so easy for the DM to shoot down their players' broken homebrew, killing their players' dreams. But on the other side of the coin, I've seen countless game masters roll over and let their players use their broken homebrew, which ends up killing the entire campaign, causing the group to quit, which is a fate worse than death. So for you, oh game master, it can be tempting to see killing your players' dreams as the lesser of two evils, but I'm here to tell you that it doesn't have to be, because D&D is a game of creativity, and where creativity is involved, life doesn't have to be a zero-sum game where one person wins and the other loses. The next time your troubled player wants a piece of game-breaking homebrew, I challenge you to look for the win-win solution. For instance, let's say your player wants to start the game at level 1 with a magic flaming sword of invincibility that will quickly destroy your encounters. Instead of killing their dream, you could ask them why they want to wield such a sword. They may state that it was an heirloom passed down from their father who received it from his father, and so on, and they've kept this sword in the family for generations, symbolizing their flaming hatred of the sand, because sand is coarse and rough and irritating and gets everywhere, not like this sword. To which you might tell them that you think the family heirloom sword is an incredible idea, but you're going to have to either adjust their stats for their +4 homebrew sword to fit a level 1 counter, or that the magic in their sword is right now dormant and can only be unlocked when the user is worthy to wield it. That's code for once they've leveled up a whole lot more. When you seek to find the win-win scenarios with your homebrew from your players, you will become the hero in their eyes instead of the villain who lets the game die or kills their dreams. But what happens if you don't care and you kill your players' dreams anyways? The law of attraction. This law states that if you give murder to your players, they will give murder back to you. If you control your players, they will try to control you. If you're kind to your players, then over time, they will treat you well. Maybe. But I've seen lots of people create homebrew to try and get even with someone. But that's not what homebrew is for. For example, maybe the players are being absolute jerks, so to punish them, you, the game master, create a homebrew monster that will haunt them long after the game is done. This can crush their morale and make them dislike you. There are much smarter ways to punish your players for being jerks, so if you want me to make a video about that, let me know in the comments below. But if you want good behavior from your players, then use your homebrew to enhance their mood, and over time, they will begin to enhance your mood too. But while our next law is called the law of gravity, it has nothing to do with what goes up must come down. According to the Cult of Matthews, if your homebrew carries no weight, then it's trash. The problem with a lot of homebrew is that it makes no sense to your worlds or stories. It was just something you thought was cool, so you tried to monkey wrench it into your session, making your players think your game feels fake. But you're probably thinking, but Assassin, I have the world's greatest idea and I'm dying to use it. Well then, worry not, my friend, because there's a way we can give gravity to any homebrew you create with just 2 simple steps, so write these down. Step 1 is purpose. Give your homebrew purpose in your world and make its purpose deeper than, "It looked sick," or "I thought it was funny." Perhaps you have an epic new homebrew boss fight you want to include in your next session. Ask yourself the question, why does your boss monster exist? Why did it show up in that spot today? How will your monster drive your story forward, and why should your players care? Perhaps your monster was created by a rebel faction tasked with destroying the same villain your players are pursuing. But maybe the monster went rogue and broke free from its captors and now eats all creatures who walk along its path, which just so happens to be the path your players are traveling. The local militia are too afraid of the monster and have closed down the road for travel. Are your players stupid enough to ignore the warnings? Time will tell. The second thing you can do to add gravity to your homebrew is to make it believable. Have you ever watched an anime or fantasy TV show where someone does some crazy magic stunt that makes no sense, only to explain how it works later using weird logic that somehow makes it believable, even though it would never work in the real world?
Bungee gum contains the properties of both rubber and gum, you see.
You, of course, don't have to be this cheesy, but if you are, the cult of Matthew shall find it in their hearts to forgive you. But if you're really committed to making better homebrew, then this last law is the most crucial of them all. You are undoubtedly the next big homebrew creator, so what if I told you,
this town ain't big enough for the 2 of us?
You see, I want you to look good, so 3 years ago, I embarked on a journey to learn the secret to making the best homebrew, but there was one small problem. No one was there to teach me the 5th law. You see, the Matthews had abandoned me in my darkest hour, but fear not, my friend, because if you follow this 5th law, then I will never abandon you on your homebrew journey, because I took the last 3 years of my life to design a far greater system for building homebrew. These systems will help you build villages, castles, kingdoms, dungeons, magic forests, fantasy armies, gangs, gods, creatures, taverns, NPCs, and so much more. Then I took what I had built and sorted them into PDF books that I'm giving away for free on my website each month. So if you want my free books, click the link below, because I believe in you, so let's build together. I'll see you there.